Hello, everyone. This is Andrew Berman from NMP, an American Business Media. Thank you for joining us on this amazing Tuesday. We'll call it a Tech Tuesday. We are here for Originator Tech, and we're going to do a deep dive with I don't know, one of my coolest, one of my favorite new, tech tools that I've been playing with a little bit. Well, with me today, we got Mark Hernandez, who's a mortgage broker, by design, but had a little bit of fun actually playing around with some of the AI and had some great success in creating his own tool to help him, with dealing with the guidelines. And before you know it, actually, he decided to create a product out of it so he can't just be selfish about it and give it out to the industry. Mark, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks, Andrew. It's great to be here. Great to be with the NMP family, and we're excited to show everyone what we put together.
Fantastic. And we're going to go into a little bit about your history and a little bit about Guideline Buddy. But before we get started here, everyone, if you could do me a favor, just take out your phone. We are going to be a good steward of your time. I promise you this will not go over an hour. If we could keep it shorter than an hour, we will. So just take out your phone if you can. And I'm doing this right now. Bum, bum, bum. All right. Mute your phone, turn your phone off, turn next if you have Outlook open, if you got Encompass, Calyx open, shut everything down, shut your browser down. Just give us at least 1 hour of your time. So listen, we could potentially have some issues with there are some interweb issues out there, as everyone's been hearing, but apparently some of it has been impacting some of the services, web services that we all rely on. It might be a nothing burger, but I kind of just say that out there just to put that out there because we are relying on some tech here. Mark, you think we'll be okay? What are your feelings?
I think we'll be okay. Yeah, Google didn't know that we were doing a demo today, so shame on us for not letting them know.
I'll let them know. We gotta okay. So next time we know that's the first thing to do. Kind of shoot an email over to Larry and
That's
make
right.
sure they take care of that. Okay.
Yeah.
So listen, kicking us off here. So by the way, we got a bunch of questions from everyone. Thank you for taking the time to ask your guideline questions. We are going to try to get to everyone today. We're going to try to get to all of these questions, but we got a lot. And I'm anticipating you got more that you're going to be submitting here. If we do not get to your question today, we're going to follow up with you, or Mark's going to follow up with you in his team. And Mark is pretty confident that he's not going to be sending out any gift certificates to Amazon.
Hopefully. But we have their contact information in case that we do, right?
Yep. And hope is not a strategy. And Mark has made sure actually that he's done all the diligence. But here's the cool thing about it, is whenever if you do find something, if you do stump the buddy, it actually helps Guideline Buddy.
Right.
And that's kind of like Mark and I were just talking about this. Is like like he can only ask it so many questions between his own questions. The people actually that work for him, he needs your help trying to break the system. He's not been able to break the system, but he's not been able to stump the buddy. That's why we said, hey, listen, let's challenge. Let's try to challenge. I said, Mark, how confident are you at this? He's like, I am very confident. Like, are you willing to put $100 behind it if Guideline Buddy gives a wrong answer? He said, certainly am. So
here we are, right? I'm going to test it out.
We put that out there. All right. So listen, Mark, do you want to kick it off, talk on this a little bit about yourself? Maybe if you got a little bit of a presentation, take us through the Guideline Buddy, the genesis of it, and what exactly it does.
I will. Yeah. If you guys will just sit through a quick demonstration, or a quick presentation rather, I will get that over to you guys and tell you a little bit about my story, how we got here, and then we'll jump into the demo. So again, welcome. Thank you so much for attending. This is Guideline Buddy. We're here to talk a little bit about and show you the new assistant, your assistant in navigating mortgage guidelines. So excited for the crowd that we have. Andrew gave me a sneak peek of all the attendees. We have a really great sampling of all different types of responsibilities throughout the mortgage industry, right? We have LOs on both the retail side, bank side, on the broker side. We have account executives on here. We have managers. We have ops people. We have underwriters, some executives. Like, this is a really cool audience, and so excited to kind of see if we can add value to everyone. So I'll start off with our story. How did we come to this? Me, Mark Hernandez, been in the industry for 20 years, primarily on the retail banking side. I've worked for depositories, had a little bit of stint in TPO, have run sales teams, have run operations teams, marketing teams, and this is coming from a place of, I'm a mortgage guy, and the team that started this were mortgage people playing around with cool tech, not the other way around that you generally see in some of the technology in our industry. When tech guys come in and say, "Hey, we think we know this business. Let's jump in and build something for them," and they don't always get it right because it's hard to know our business. And I'm still learning 20 years in, and the next 20 years is still going to be a learning journey for me. And the impetus of Guideline Buddy was born from this unknown, right? The clarity and the speed that we need in the mortgage industry can always be improved. And when we started jumping into AI and talking with our AI experts and our development team, really understanding how do we harness this new technology, generative AI specifically, and turn it into something cool and help people in our industry do something that it boosts productivity. So that's a little bit of the story of how we came this about. Now, the specific problem or challenge that we wanted to solve is, I know many of you, including myself, have spent hours, countless hours, downloading PDFs, using Control F, and trying to find the right guideline, hopefully that applies to the loan scenario. If you're a loan officer structuring the loan, you're a processor getting ready to submit to underwriting, you're an underwriter and you don't know how to apply a guideline. If you're post closing and you got a stip from an investor, anybody that touches guidelines knows the pain of trying to find the right one. And so we took this technology and wanted to find a better way of doing it. So here is the solution. We came up with Guideline Buddy, taking generative AI, which is very similar to ChatGPT, Google's Gemini, and there's a few other tools out there where you have a conversation with this large language model that's been trained on tons and tons of data. And what we did here is we specialized how our chatbot is trained on the data specifically for mortgage guidelines. So having it understand exactly the context of who we are as an industry, who the user is, and what the purpose is, makes it a lot more focused than a chat GPT that is trained on just a vast amount of guidelines. So what did we do to start? The first here bullet point that I have is that we launching with Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, FHA, VA, and USDA. We'll see in a second. We have a placeholder for some correspondent and wholesale lenders. And that's because we're talking to some of them to join our platform and put their guidelines on here so that our users, our subscribers, can go around and find where the best place to perhaps do a loan would be. If you choose lender A, lender B, investor C, investor D, whatever side of the business you are on, we want to make sure that you have a resource to expand your knowledge as to where the best place is for that loan. So those are the guidelines that we're starting off with, and we're going to look at that here today. Our user, like I mentioned when we started the call, it's anybody who qualifies borrowers. If you're qualifying a borrower in some capacity, this tool might help you do that, right? We're not lender specific. We're not bundled with any other service. We are agnostic about who we work with. If folks want to join us and be part of our platform, that's great. And we have a few conversations going on right now to get that launched. So, and we're going to focus on guidelines because that's where we think the biggest lift for you all is. And we made it simple. The UX and the support, we'll see it in a minute here. If you've ever used ChatGPT, it's about as simple as that. It's chatting natural language with any bot, and we'll get to experience that here when we're trying to stump the buddy. Oh, and something near and dear to me, of course, it was built in English, but we also built it in Spanish. So Guideline Buddy habla español, and that's because we wanted to help those that help customers and borrowers that are in Spanish and have a second language, and make it easier for you to transact with them by giving you the guidelines in Spanish. So that's where we came from. Andrew, I think it's time to bring it up. Let's do it, right?
Oh, let's do it. Okay.
Okay.
This is time to stump the buddy. We are super excited about doing this. I mean, part of me, of course, I want to see Mark win and succeed, but like I also want to see it learn. I want to see actually
Yeah.
get some wrong here. Let's see. Hopefully, and I know, listen, our audience, we have some pretty sharp people here. I mean, you saw the questions that came in. I mean, there's some great questions that came in from really experienced professionals.
Yes.
Let's see if
Okay.
we're going to stump the buddy.
Let's do it. All right. So I'm going to give a quick overview of how it works. So this is our webpage, guidelinebuddy.com. Easy to remember. Peruse at your own leisure, right? I'm not going to go through the website. But once you're a subscriber, and at the end of the call here, we'll show you how to subscribe, and we might have a special for everyone that is attending here. So you click on login, and when you click the login button, you come to this. This is the application. This is Guideline Buddy. Quick navigation. So if you've ever used ChatGPT, even if you haven't, we want to make sure you have access to your saved chats, right? So click on our icon here on the left-hand side, and you'll see I've been using it for a while, right? So I have a lot of saved chats. But as you develop your library of chats, they'll be here because sometimes you're in the middle of something, you're jamming away on Guideline Buddy, you get a phone call, you get called away, and you got to come back to it. We wanted to make it so you have a placeholder, really easy to start there. Now, a lot of us, we're in the mortgage industry. It's not an 8 to 5 job. We're working late. So to make it for easy on the eyes when you're working late, we can turn off the lights, right? Make it a little bit easier when we're on the late night underwrites or late night loan structuring for you there. But we're in the daytime, so let's turn the lights on. Okay. Now, as we talked about, we have currently trained on Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, FHA, VA, and USDA. Right. So you here are able to select what set of guidelines you'd like to inquiry about. We have made sure that all of the selling guides, handbooks are updated as of really, yesterday. So now I'm going from memory here, but Fannie and Freddie both have a February version of the selling guide. FHA has an an October publication date, effective through April. So that will be when the next one comes out. VA handbook, they really don't tell you the date, but we pulled it and made sure it's updated. Same thing with the handbook for USDA, the 33555. So it's all here. And then, like I mentioned before, we're talking to some investors and wholesale lenders to put on the platform here. So I will demo a non-QM lender here. It's just random guidelines, some that we're talking to on partnering here. Won't divulge who they are. But you have this. And cool thing is, Guideline Buddy can actually help you by itself. What does that mean is that you don't have to call us. We're happy to take your call and kind of walk you through any questions that you may have. But you can always ask Guideline Buddy, how do you use it? So let's do that first. Just a quick navigation here. So how do I best use you? Simple question, right? So we're going to get an answer back. To best use me, simply ask me the specific guideline you're dealing with. For example, blah, 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 gives you, loan to value ratios on Fannie Mae or eligibility criteria for FHA loans. They can compare guidelines between agencies like FHA, VA, USDA. So it kind of tells you how to use it. Very cool, intuitive stuff. And when you need to refresh a new chat, all you got to do is down here in the chat prompt box, click on the plus sign. Here you go. You're back to the home page with a new chat. And then, like I mentioned, something very near and dear to me, you can turn on the Espanol. and you can ask for your ayuda, which is help in Espanol. However you'd like to transact, you can actually talk to it in English and it responds to you in Spanish and vice versa. So quick navigation there. All right, let's stump the buddy. Andrew sent me the list of questions. We've blocked out everyone's names and titles and all that stuff, but we do know that this is your question. So as you can see, we do have quite a lot of them. All right. And we want to keep this flowing as quickly as possible. So what I'm going to do is just I'm going to copy the question straight from your submission, pop it in. And there might be, I was going through some of them earlier before we jumped on. There's some ambiguity in some. So if it requires an assumption, Andrew and I are going to kind of make that assumption for you. So, just let's roll with that. Okay. First one, new trust or retirement income allowed. So we didn't get a specific set of guidelines, but let's just try Fannie Mae because that's what's selected. So you put in the question here. Okay, cool. I think we have an answer. So based on the Fannie Mae selling guide, obviously, because we asked Fannie Mae, retirement income is considered eligible. It can be verified that the income is expected to continue for at least 3 years after the date of the mortgage application. If the retirement assets have been liquidated and placed into a trust within 12 months of the app date, the income can be calculated in accordance with the requirements provided in the guide. Additionally, trust, because it asked about trust, right? Trust, you would need to obtain a copy of the trust agreement, trustee statement, trust federal income tax return to confirm the amount and frequency of the type of income being delivered. For retirement accounts, vested funds, and in IRAs, the tax-favored retirement, like a 401k, are acceptable sources of down payment, closing costs, and reserves. The lender must verify the ownership of the account and ensure the account is vested and allows withdrawals. Andrew, pretty solid answer, I would say, right?
Oh, buddy. Got it.
Yeah.
Nailed it. All right.
Cool. And these will get faster as we go along, folks. But when you need it, right, it tells you exactly in the selling guide what page to find it. So you'll see it's a selling guide, the February 7th version on page 345. So you click here and it's going to download the guideline, the selling guide. I'm going to let it download in the background. You guys know how big these PDFs are. And that's why we created Guideline Buddy, because they're huge. Who wants to sift through all those? Drop your question in here and away we go. All right. So question number 1, good. Let's do number 2. Can I pull out $1,800 of cash and not mess up my purchase mortgage application? Now, again, we didn't get a context of this one of which set of guidelines in. So let's just try Freddie. This is an interesting one. So based on Freddie's guidelines, if you're applying for a purchase mortgage, the transaction must be a no cash out refinance mortgage. This means that you generally cannot take cash out in a purchase transaction, which I think we all know that you really can't. However, the guidelines do not explicitly state that the implications of withdrawing $1,800 cash is a relation to a purchase transaction, which is probably right. I wouldn't imagine that they would address cash out on a purchase. It's important to consider that any significant cash transactions or charges in your financial situation could potentially impact your mortgage application. Yeah, of course. Lenders typically review. I'm not going to read that part. For a definitive answer on how pulling out $1,800 cash might affect your specific mortgage application, you should probably consult the Fannie Mae seller guide or reach out to Freddie Mac directly as provided in the context. So I think we kind of gave the right direction. This was a tough one, Andrew. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, without more context, it's difficult to say, but I don't know. I think this is a pretty solid answer with limited information. I'm happy with this one. I'm pretty pleased with this.
Andrew, is everyone able to see this pretty good? Should I blow this up a little bit more?
Yeah, if you could blow it up maybe a little more. There
we go.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay.
If anyone has any difficulty seeing it, just hit a message in the chat box, and please, if anyone has questions, just use the question and answer box. I don't know that we're going to be able to get to it, but if we will, if we don't get to it here, Mark and his team will get back to you after.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, next one. Is foreclosure by a private entity bank an exception for FHA flipping rule? I like this one because it's specific to FHA. All right, so let's go start an FHA chat.
While it's doing it, Mark, so can you dig deeper? So Michelle just asked this great question.
Yep.
So let's say, so you got that response about the 1800 on the purchase transaction. If you said, tell me more, can it go deeper? Can it give you any more context?
Absolutely. That's a great question. Michelle, thanks for asking that. And let me answer it before while I'm answering, you guys can read the question, the answer here. So if you've ever used ChatGPT, you might know of something called prompt engineering. So for those of you that don't know what prompt engineering means, it's simply the way you interact with a large language model or a chatbot. And it's important that you know a little bit about prompt engineering to yield the best results, right? The less information that you give Guideline Buddy, the broader the answer is going to be. So to Michelle's point, can you continue to ask it questions? The answer is yes. And the suggestion is that you probably should. It wasn't built to be a one and done, right? You don't just drop something in there unless you get the exact answer that you're looking for. Cool, move on. But if you do need clarification, and maybe we'll run into a question here that requires more clarification, and you should continue to dialogue with it so you get some more feedback and you actually get the value that we intended to give you with it. So long-winded way of saying, yes, continue with it. Now let's take a look at this one. So the foreclosure by a private entity bank, an exception for FHA. Based on the handbook, a foreclosure by a private entity does not appear specifically to be an exception to the flipping rule, which is, makes sense. They're not going to call out a private bank specifically, but this is where Guideline Buddy can start to reason a little bit and help you reason. It's not an underwriter. You're the underwriter. You're the loan officer. You're the professional. This is just a tool, right, to get you and point you in the right direction. So the guidelines do not specifically address foreclosures by a private entity bank in relation to FHA. However, here's the reasoning. The guidelines do mention that a borrower is generally not eligible for an FHA insured mortgage if they've had a foreclosure in the 3-year period prior to the date of the case number assignment, right? With certain exceptions. And it's important to review more specific. So I think that, given the context, it did answer it. However, I think this is a great question to continue because it said here with certain exceptions. So let's ask it. What specifically are those certain exceptions that you mentioned? Oh, did I reset it? Oh, my bad, guys. I think I reset it here. I switched the chat. So we'll keep going, Andrew. We'll find another question here and continue on a conversation. So, but we want to give everyone as much of a chance to continue as possible. All right. The next one: can a borrower with an ITIN number get a normal FHA loan with a U.S. citizen non-occupant co-borrower? My career has been focused a lot on diverse communities. We've tried different ways to do that, and I know the answer is no because I've talked to FHA commissioners before about this. But let's see what Guideline Buddy says. Okay. Well, there you go. Pretty definitive answer. The guidelines say the 4000.1 says that is not eligible for an FHA insured mortgage because the borrower must have a valid social security number to be eligible for FHA. And that is true. And I understand that the question was as a non-occupant, having a non-occupant co-borrower, but this applies to both permanent and non-permanent residents. Therefore, a borrower with an ITIN only an ITIN cannot obtain a normal FHA loan, even with a U.S. citizen non-occupant co-borrower. I would love if they did that, though, by the way. I think that would be very cool of them. There's about 12 million people in this country that are in that situation. All right, next one. Income calculation on hourly employees calculated in the rear. We didn't get a set of guidelines, but let's look at VA. Well, hold on. Would that apply to a VA? Yeah, it still apply to a VA. Okay, so again, we're not given a lot of context here, but it's telling us based on the context from the handbook, there's no direct expert regarding specific method for calculating income, which is true. So now it goes into the reasoning. However, generally, lenders are expected to verify and analyze the income of borrowers to ensure stability and reliability. That's obvious. This typically involves reviewing the borrower's past income history and may include looking at a tax returns, pay stubs, and other relevant documentation. For hourly employees, this could mean averaging out hours worked over a period to determine a consistent monthly income figure. All right, so this was a little ambiguous. I'm going to leave it up to you to judge this one, Andrew.
I think we should without knowing actually the which guidelines he's asking. I think this is good. I think this is good. Maybe yeah, I'm satisfied with this one. If anyone actually objects to our calls here and things actually that we're off, please let us know in that chat box. The goal of this is not to get through this unscathed, but actually if we're not or if Mark is not 100% with Guideline Buddy, he wants to improve it. So
that's it. That's it. And I'll stress that again, team. It's just because the more feedback that we get, the better of tool this is. And we're in this to help provide the industry with some cool technology and hope to improve efficiencies. That is our primary goal right here. So the more that you give us, the better that we're going to get. And here's the best way. Let me pause here and tell you, how do you give feedback? So on every response that you give back, you can highlight the little paper and pencil or pen, and it says share feedback. And here we go, right? So you drop it in here, click submit, that comes to us. We review it. We look at our algorithms and our models, and we feed it back information on how to get better. And for those of you that are, always trying to, in a rush and need to get a quick guideline, you come in here. You also have a really quick copy paste feature here. So hover over and then click here on the clipboard, copy it. Now it's in, I'll just paste it here. Easy to do. So if you're working with perhaps an underwriter, I know there's underwriters on the call, maybe your loan officers are questioning something, you tell them, go to Guideline Buddy and find me the guideline. You come in here, copy, paste, we're done. All right, let's keep going. I like this long question now. Borrowers has a Chapter 7 bankruptcy discharged January 2023. Bankruptcy was due to several medical trauma. Can they buy now? All right. We know this is FHA, or we don't know. No, we didn't get a guideline. So let's go back to conventional. Let's do Freddie.
all right. Got some great questions actually that are continuously coming up here.
Okay.
One of the things actually I am curious about, and one of the participants brought this up. Is there any value to have where you could search all guidelines at once? Maybe actually you might have a borrower and you don't know actually which bucket it would fit into. If it maybe they would be able to qualify for Fannie Mae. So is that something that's in line?
Absolutely. So our roadmap has a lot of cool things in it. I hope that you guys think they're cool too. Where you can put in a scenario and say, look, here's my scenario. I have, let's say you're a loan officer. I have a borrower with a 720 FICO. By the way, we'll never take borrower documents. That's not our gig, right? We'll just ask you for information. So I have a borrower with a 720 FICO, 43% back end DTI, and has 3.5% down payment. What should I go? Home ready, home possible? Should I go FHA? Give me the reasons, pros and cons for each one, right? And that's what's on our roadmap, is that you simply just a very clean interface, drop in your scenario, and it'll give you the option. And then on our roadmap is also that with our lender partners. So if you're a lender and are on the demo, thanks for being here, and you are interested in onboarding your guidelines here, then give us a call. We're happy to do that. So we want to build it so where it's like maybe similar to the pricing engines, right? You put in a scenario and then you get all these different prices and from different investors and lenders. So we want to kind of be very similar too, is say, hey, we want to help people find the right home for a loan, and we want to help lenders have access to mortgage professionals that they can win business from. So we're happy to act on both sides. So I hope that answers the question, Andrew.
Yeah, I think definitely it does. So Alicia is challenging this last question here. If you want to look, look in chat. She says, I believe this was a Freddie Mac BK guideline is only for manually underwritten loans. LPA loans have no time frame as long as BK is addressed in the findings.
LPA loans have no time frame as long as the BK is addressed in the findings. Okay. Well, let's ask it that. What if LPA gave me an accept and the BK was seasoned less than 24 months? Would I be able to close that loan? Oh, you know what, Andrew, I'm going to have to ask for everyone's forgiveness here, because this is the glitch that we're experiencing right now with Google. We're not able to stream.
Okay.
But that's a great question, Alicia. We'll have to get back to you, and if I can get your contact information, maybe we can answer it live. We'll take 10 minutes to answer it live once we're over this this connectivity issue. But that's a good one. I'm very curious myself too. I've never heard of positive findings with the BK, because the AUS is going to pick up the credit report, right? And it's going to say it's a BK. So, and it's going to pick it up from the 1003 too. So, but I'd love to jam more on this one. All right, thank you. We got your email address. Perfect.
Fantastic.
Let's do it.
So one of the attendees had asked in terms of like, what's the difference between this and just using ChatGPT? ChatGPT.
Oh, I love that question.
Yeah, I mean, it could do a little bit of this, but to share what you're missing out actually if you don't have something like this versus just using ChatGPT, Claude, or Gemini.
Yeah, absolutely. A great question, valid question, because we've believe me, guys, we tried comparing and contrasting, putting in. The short of it is, and I pulled up our FAQ. You can find it on our website. There's other information you can find on there, other questions. So the large language models were trained on guidelines. They were, but they were trained on a certain set of guidelines, and they're not constantly updated. So you might get a very similar answer. You might actually get the exact same answer for a guideline that's never changed. But I wouldn't bank on that, because you know that they're making changes every month, every other month. There's bulletins. There's especially now, as we're past a mortgage boom. We're coming into where credit has gotten a little bit tighter because of interest rates, and there will be some more changes in risk appetite from the agencies. So with changes in risk appetite come changes in guidelines. And that's why we're going to stay up to date on every single guideline that comes out, making sure that you have the most relevant and recent information. Hope that answers the question.
Yeah, and I think the other thing actually that ChatGPT will never be able to do is not just the agency guidelines, but all the lenders, their overlays, any other non-QM lenders, all of these things that well, some of this stuff is public, a lot of this stuff is firewall that you can't access.
Yeah. And we have built Guideline Buddy to know that it's an assistant in the mortgage industry, right? So it's programmed that way, it's trained that way. It knows that it's your assistant, and keep calling it it, but we're trying to give it a personality, right? His name is Buddy. So Buddy knows that he's your assistant and he works for you. And when you go to ChatGPT or Gemini, it's for the general public, right? So it's not necessarily specific geared towards mortgage professional. It might answer the question a little dumbed down for just a regular, consumer out there. But we know that we're only working with mortgage professionals, so we can speak a different language than a ChatGPT can. So just a slight difference there.
Fantastic. Great.
Okay, let's keep going.
All right. Come on, let's break it. Come on, you got to give us one failure. I want to be able to send out one certificate.
I'm all for it, man. What are the rules using asset utilization as income? We haven't played around with Fannie a little bit.
Yeah, that's probably not going to be an FHA deal.
Right.
All right.
Okay. That's pretty spot on right there. I would think it just kind of bullet pointed from page 354 what you need to do for asset utilization. So I think we're good on that one.
Go, buddy.
Right. Interesting. Like back-to-back asset depletion questions or asset utilization. Can I use asset depletion as income on a purchase in a second home? Well, let's see.
Oh, that's weird.
I'm going to keep it on Fannie Mae.
All right.
Okay, so this is interesting. So this one is referring back to the guideline. I don't think this is very useful, Andrew. I don't think it's stumped, but it didn't give a properly context answer.
Wow. All right. I mean that was this was a very, very difficult question here. So
Yeah.
all right.
Could we start this one? I'm gonna.
Yeah. There you go. Fantastic. By the way, that was the person next to you who's an executive working in secondary marketing. So
All right. Will this work for private lenders who want to follow proper commercial guidelines? So obviously, I'm not going to drop that one in there, but it's a good question. Private lenders, any lender that wants to approach us and put their guidelines on here, we're happy to entertain it. Within reason, right? I don't ever see us really putting hard money lenders on here. Hard money lenders don't necessarily have robust guidelines. They're kind of just case by case. Same thing with commercial lenders. I've worked with commercial lenders before and commercial investors, and they do a little bit more common sense underwriting and not as strict in guidelines as residential mortgages is. But who's to say that we won't do that in the future? So just wanted to address that. All right, next, how many months receipt are required to document for a new IRA monthly distribution under Freddie Mac guidelines? So let's do this one. Any other cool questions, Andrew, in the chat here? And then
let's see. We're looking to see people asking about non-QM. When do you expect to have most of the major investor seller guides and overlays incorporated into the database?
Yeah, great question. So we are talking to some really great lenders and investors. Um, well, I won't name names, of course, but we are talking to two of the top 25. And I would say on the ones that we're talking with, they're definitely top 100. So we're ready to add people now, right? And um, you give me a time check, Andrew, because I want to do the promo.
Yep.
Share everyone. We don't want enough time to give everyone an opportunity to take advantage of the promo. So just stop me whenever. But
Okay.
for you users that new users that join us, we'll talk about the promo. You know, we value your feedback, and during the promo period, you will get access to lenders because we're a couple of weeks away from launching a few lender and investor and lender partners. And so if you subscribe, you're going to get access to them, and then you can, you know, kind of take advantage of that. And as we grow. All right, here, back to the question. How many months receipt are required to document a newly IRA monthly distribution? Okay, based on the selling guide, verification of current receipt of IRA distribution is not required. However, multiple distributions are necessary to determine the frequency of distribution and history of receipts and amount of stable qualifying income. Then verification of receipt and multiple may be necessary. Okay.
Well,
Yeah, but a history is not required. A history of receipt is not required. So we're good on that one.
Ooh, oh, this is a tough one. This is a question. Um, do you plan to bring on state-specific grant guidelines programs at sometime in the future?
Oh, that's a good one. The HFA loans, the bond loans. I think those we would be very interested in bringing on board. Um, the more like community seconds, the silent seconds, the local grants, and from municipalities, probably not because those are, you know, so many. There's, you know,
Yeah.
hundreds, if not thousands of those.
Hmm.
And it would just be hard to have. It'd be a really tough user experience for everybody. But
Yeah.
like all of the if there's California people, so shout out to California, all the CalHFA deals, Cal HFA, all the Texas DPAs, right? The TSHACs, the TDHCAs. I would love to partner with those folks and put them on there. Yeah, absolutely. Why they're not on here, team, is because those guidelines are generally behind login required. So we have not publicly put out or published any guidelines that are not publicly available for our launch, right? So we want to respect everyone's privacy. And if your guidelines are behind a login, we're not going to go in there and put it out for the world to see unless you give us permission.
Yep.
Okay. What are the max closing cost credit I can get with a conventional loan doing 5% down? I think that answer is 3%. See what Buddy says. Let's go again. Oh, glitch here.
All right. Yeah. We knew this potentially could happen, you know, with
Yeah.
the stuff going on today.
Let's do it one more time. Let's just see.
There you go. Wonderful. Oop.
A little glitchy. Okay.
Yeah, and anyone who we're not going to get to live, we will get, or Mark will get a hold of you.
Yes. Yeah,
And
you guys will be hearing from me. And then
yeah,
Andrew, how about we do like two more and then we'll move on to the
yeah, we got 16 more minutes left.
okay, cool. What's the VA departing primary residence rule? Okay, we haven't picked on VA very much, so let's do that.
Come on, baby. There we go.
So 60 days. Let's do something kind of cool too. Let's do the same question. And I'm gonna say, explain this to me in football terms.
What? That's a
Gotta have fun
thing?
with it, right? It's
Yes, yes.
oh, come on, buddy.
Oh, oh my goodness, that's great. Um, in the future, do you plan to offer API level access? This is another question from
yeah.
Michelle. Okay, that's great.
Yeah. So right now, perhaps API, but something that we are doing right now. Some of the lender partners that we're talking to. Oh man, I'm sorry, guys. Um, Google kind of kicked our butt this morning with glitches. Maybe some of you guys couldn't log into Facebook or Instagram. It's kind of all the back end infrastructure that we use too. So it's again, Google didn't get our email. Andrew, back to the question. Yes, so some of the lender partners that we're actually talking to right now, we're building their chatbots, their internal company chatbots. So if you're a decision maker at your company and have been exploring this world, we're happy to sit down and have a consultation on like what does that look like. Um, we kind of want to be the bridge between this really powerful, unexplored technology and the mortgage business because we're mortgage bankers and we know this business pretty well. And so we speak the tech, we know the tech, but we know mortgage banking way better. So look, have a no obligation consultation conversation. Let's talk. How do we help your company with an internal chatbot and perhaps explore how you can help your own employees, right? Whether it be from underwriting, like I mentioned, post closing, really, and the data is not relevant. And what I mean by that is if you want a chatbot where the one-stop shop for all of your employees, where it's like, hey, I want my guidelines in there. I want my HR policies in there. I want my payroll policies in there. I want my employee handbook in there. Whatever. Yeah, we can do that. It's really the tool is the infrastructure is built. We just have to train Buddy. You call him whatever you want when it's yours. We have to train Buddy on your data. And that's not that's not a very complicated process, but we're happy to have that conversation with you. Okay. So sorry about the glitch, guys. Let's try one more and then let's give you guys a promo here. Okay, what does VA consider as part-time for guideline purposes? This one, I like this one because I'm curious myself. I don't think the guidelines will define part-time, but let's see what the reasoning is. Yeah, I didn't think so. Okay, so here's the direction that you get. So, however, it does state that the income from part-time jobs can be considered stable and reliable if it has been consistent and verified for 2 years. So maybe not necessarily an hour, but if you tell your underwriter, or if you're the underwriter, you can say if I can prove income, because like an Uber driver, right? Sometimes they drive 2 hours a day. Sometimes they drive 10 hours a day, right? So that varies. But if you can prove consistency for 2 years, it should be effective income. I think we got that. All right. So we have some folks to follow up with. I think we might be giving away whoever this person is here, because I didn't like that question, or I didn't like the answer, rather. It really didn't give you enough context. So whoever the 9th person was to submit this, Andrew, I'll get that information from you, and they get to go shopping on Amazon. So let me switch screens here, team, and I will kind of show you what you, as an exclusive NMP audience, we love. Andrew, thank you so much. This was fun. NMP is a great partner. We really appreciate you giving us an opportunity. So here's the regular pricing. And we have 2 plans, and you can pay with the plan. If you go to our website, you can see their pricing too. You can pay one of 2 ways. You can sign up for an annual subscription, so 12 months, and you can sign up for a monthly subscription. We don't ask you to sign a contract, right, on a month to month. You cancel anytime, all that good stuff. Again, we want to be very user friendly. We want to be friendly for you. We just want to put a cool tool in your hands. That's why we're doing this. All right. So the standard pricing is, the standard plan is, let's say you do monthly, $25 a month, Fannie, Freddie, FHA, VA, and USDA, what we just saw, and you get 25 prompts a month. What's a prompt? Every time I typed in a question and I hit enter, that's a prompt, right? So about 1 question a day. Maybe some days you have 2 or 3 questions. Some days you don't have any questions, right? Working days in the month. So that's how we kind of see it. And that's our standard plan. Then we have our professional plan, which is all of the agency guidelines plus any investor and lender that we onboard on our platform, unlimited prompts to everybody and to every investor. And like I mentioned, we will have in the next couple of weeks a couple of investors and lenders there for you to chat with their guidelines. And that'll be exciting when we have all of that. And this plan specifically is what we're offering to everyone today. So go ahead, because you're the NMP audience and a participator in OriginatorTech, we're going to give you 30 days free, no obligation. Not asking you for a credit card, not asking you to give us any information except your name, your email, and your phone number. And that phone number is because we're going to do a 6-digit code when you do log in. And that's what we needed. So name, phone number, email. We'll get you on our newsletter too. You can opt out. If we send you too many emails, simply opt out. But newsletter, just want to give you information on what's going on, how we're using this. So you have the link here, and let me drop the link in the chat while you're scanning the QR code. If you don't want to scan the QR code, I'm going to drop the link. If I can get to that page. Okay, cool. I just sent everyone the tiny URL. It takes you to a Google form where it asks you that information. Again, your email, your name, your cell phone number, so we can text you the verification code. We're going to manually create your logins, and you will get an email from us in the next few hours. This is a manual process because we don't want you going on the website. If you go on the website, you're going to have to pay. You're going to have to put your credit card down. We made this webinar. We partner with NMP, so you don't have to pay. And we consider you guys are just first pioneers, early adopters. Thanks so much for coming and learning about the Guideline Buddy, learning about the product. Give us feedback. If there's anything in return that we ask you for is feedback, right? Some of the questions, and I love the chat. I'm reading it now. That is fantastic. Thank you, Veronica, for that. Hi, Vero. Good to see you. And we want your feedback, guys. We're going to get better, right? We have a long roadmap. We want to make this a powerful tool for everybody, save you time, whatever you're doing in the mortgage business. If we can save you a few minutes, that starts to add up. That means that you can do more in a less amount of time. And ultimately, that means you can help more people become homeowners. And that's kind of what we're doing this. So now, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us at or email us at hey@guidelinebuddy.com. Just send us a quick email. It's on a ticketing system. Someone on the team will get back to you very promptly and let you know that we're here to help you. And thank you so much for taking the time. I know we're approaching an hour here, but maybe Andrew, we can take some last questions, or however you think we should end the call here.
Yeah, that's so. First off, Mark, that's awesome. Very generous of you. Really appreciate that. Someone asked if when you submit a follow-up prompt, that still counts as an additional prompt, right?
It does. Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. And guys, if you do the math, we're trying to find the right price, right? If you do the math, I mean, $500 a year for to help you do one loan that maybe you were struggling with, maybe even save a loan. We think it's well worth it, right? A price was very important to us. We're not for 2 reasons, right? We want to make it available to everybody. Some technology out there in the mortgage industry is very expensive. very useful, but it's very expensive. We don't want to be that. And then two, we're launching, right? We're new, we're learning. It's sometimes a little bit buggy. Sometimes Google doesn't have your back, like they did today. So we're not going to ask you to give us your firstborn, because we know that we're coming out in the market with something new.
Fantastic. So if someone wants to know this, is the company venture backed?
No, it's backed by my checking account.
Yeah, Mark's just a successful originator that had a really good idea, put a lot of money into his own thing, and he's just giving it out there. Um, s- um, is there a so like a company price that you'll have? So let's say
Oh yeah.
someone's asking, like, if you, let's say they have 20 originators or 50 originators, 200 originators, can you do a company price? And then someone also asked this question: could potentially they upload their own guidelines and have their own training data in there?
Yeah. First question. Is there a company price? Yes. After 10 users, give us a call. We'll come out with a custom package for you. Not a problem there. We're actually onboarding a large group here in Texas. I'm in Texas, by the way. Houston is home for me. We're onboarding a bank here in Texas that wants a bulk set of users. So yes, definitely reach out. Email hey@guidelinebuddy.com. We'll get you in touch with sales and work something out with you. Two, will you send us the guide, your data, and create something? Absolutely. We are happy to customize something for you internally for your company. If you want to put your guidelines on Guideline Buddy for everyone to see, we can do that too. So we can do it one of two ways: help you build something internally, or but when I say internally, doesn't necessarily mean on your servers, right? We can build on our servers and give you a company login on your data that only abcbank.com uses, right? So we don't have to go build on your servers. This is really fluid, guys. And again, we're mortgage people that really understand our business, and the tech. While it's complicated, we know plenty of it. We're knowledgeable, and we have some great developers. Our head developer is an amazing engineer, and we can build some cool stuff.
Fantastic. I want to ask this question from Jeanette. She asked, "Is Buddy self-learning?"
Not yet. That's a great question. I love that's like a data scientist question. Not yet. We do have to push the feedback to Buddy manually. We're moving towards getting that's on our roadmap so that every time you get a feedback, it automatically learns. But what we're doing right now is we're batching the feedback and then feeding it back to Buddy. Great question,
Wow,
though.
that's fantastic. And let's see. So, man, I can't believe how many people are asking about non-QM. So they're asking, no, several people are asking this. Those are, or I guess, somewhat familiar with AI. What language model are you using?
So we have a few different options. We explored OpenAI, we explored Anthropic. AWS has its own. So in the background, we're kind of toggling between a few different ones to find the right one. So we're partnered and API'd with a few.
Fantastic. And let's see if there's any more here. That I mean, there's a bunch more that are coming up, but I'm looking for an easy one. So will in the future, is there a thing where you will possibly allow documents to be uploaded to maybe give an opinion based on it, basically maybe do income calculation, things like that?
When we set out on this mission, it was about building a quick and easy tool to give you something quick. I'm a mortgage person. I've worked with hundreds of mortgage people, thousands of mortgage people in my career. We have no patience in this industry, right? So we are very impatient by nature. Maybe not so much our operations folks. We love your patience, but we wanted to be fast, quick, and easy. Just like let me find what I need and move on with my day. Um, it's not to say that we won't pivot and move into that world. It's a very competitive landscape. It started with OCR, right? put it in a PDF, and then it extracts all the data and fills in your 1003 or calculates your income. And great companies out there doing that. A lot of companies, and why I keep stressing, like, we're mortgage people playing with tech, we're not tech people playing with mortgage, is because that world is very competitive with tech people playing in it. And I don't know if we're gonna do that yet. So never say never, but that's not on our roadmap. I don't want to. And then there's implications of uh, private financial information, PFI, and accepting and having you guys sign this whole terms of service. Our terms of service are very simple. So I hope that answered the question. That it's not in the plan, but it may be in the future.
This is like this is like your buddy who's a guideline nerd that knows
That's
everything.
it.
Yeah. In many cases, that person might not actually be the greatest closer, might not be the best, but they know the guidelines better than anyone else, and they're available. Well, now actually you have it in, for $50 a month, or now you got it for free, actually, thanks to Mark's generosity for the next month you're doing this for.
That's it. 30 days. So
Fantastic.
until
That's awesome.
yep.
So we are at time here. So everyone, last chance to kind of to grab that. So please click or scan the QR code. I'm just going to drop this in there one more time. You will see actually the link there in the bottom. Mark, you want to say anything in closing here?
I just want to thank everybody. Thank you, Andrew, and all the good folks at NMP. We appreciate you, taking us on and letting us showcase on Originator Tech. And to all the attendees, connect with me on LinkedIn. Reach out to me, however way you find me. Love to talk to you. I love talking about this stuff. I love talking about mortgages. Happy to collaborate. Would love ideas, feedback, criticism. Bring it all, because we're out to set up to continue to build something cool. So that's it, Andrew. Thank you.
Mark, thank you so much. And thank you so much for joining us for another NMP webinar, the Originator Tech Deep Dives, where we find a piece of technology that enhances the origination process. So thank you for joining us, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your Tuesday and hope you have an amazing March. Take care, guys.